Okay, you read the title. I am redoing this old art piece, and the first step to that is taking the coloring page I made of it and tracing the body. I am going to change the hand. I think the hand's a little awkward, but the rest of it I'm going to keep the same. Also, I will have this coloring page available as a link so you can download it in the description below. It's free. Enjoy it, color it, tag me in it, crumple it up. I don't care. Whatever you want to do, really. But yeah, I'm just tracing the Shinigami guy without all of the little chocolates falling around him. Yep. Just doing that. I'm also not tracing his hand because I'm going to change it. So finally I trimmed that down, took off the back piece, and I'm kind of repositioning the hand. Instead of like holding up something to eat, I kind of have it in the front. I kind of had this thought of like, maybe there's like blood on the glass. Like maybe he's looking at you, the viewer, through the glass, and there's going to be blood on it. That was a choice. I'll be honest, I still don't know how I feel about it. And yeah, I'm not really sure what to do with the background, what I should have there. I think I'm going to try to make it look like an empty room and just make it like he's contained. Like if there's going to be glass between you guys, he's got to be contained. Like maybe someone caught this Shinigami and they're trying to study it. I don't freaking know. Anyway, time to transfer. So I'm covering the back in charcoal and smearing that around, putting it on a piece of good paper. I think I used Bristol paper for this part. It's usually my go-to. But yeah, so now I'm going over everything. And you notice I'm doing all of this in colored pencil. The reason for that is mostly just because sometimes I do a lot of really small details with the drawings. There's so many different lines, so many different curves, so many different elements, and using a colored pencil just helps me to keep track of that. So if you try this method, doing like a rough sketch on a cheap piece of paper and then transferring it to a good piece of paper, highly, highly, highly recommend that you use a colored pencil for when you're transferring, or use the colored pencil for the rough draft and use a regular pencil when you're transferring. I don't know. Either way, a different color. Make it look different. And yep, this is what I'm doing. I would also like to suggest that you be very, very careful with the amount of pressure that you use. You want to use just enough pressure to transfer the charcoal or the graphite if you use graphite. You don't want to use too much because then the paper underneath will kind of get this like little imprint, indent, and if you decide to change something on the good paper, then you've just ruined the good paper, So yeah, once I'm done with that, I peel it off. I do a quick light brush with the eraser just to kind of get some of the excess charcoal off. And now I'm going in with the ink, and my head is in the way. That's annoying. Whatever. They were tiny little details, okay? I needed to focus. I needed to be in that space. Whatever. We're moving on. Tracing over that, all these little details. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, sometimes this gets pretty tedious because I end up doing the same drawing 3 times. I do the rough sketch, and then I have to do the graphite transfer sketch, and then I have to do the final sketch. Thankfully, I didn't really make any more big changes to this. I got to the inking fairly quickly, which is nice. Yeah, like I said in the intro, though, I'm really happy with the overall shape of this guy. It's mostly just the coloring that I think I could do better on. And I really hope I'm not wrong. So keep our fingers crossed. I do love this little guy, though. I love him. Like, just look at him. Look at his little toefies. Ah! I love creepy characters. They just make me so happy for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, finishing this up. And yes, I am using a tape roll. A used up tape roll for the windows. Whatever. You know what? I want to make this look good. I'm even using a ruler. I usually don't use rulers when I'm doing straight lines. Not really for any particular reason. I just kind of forget that they're there. I should really remember that more often because those lines are nuts. But anyway, yeah, finishing up some of these last little details. Yep. And yeah, now I'm erasing all of the charcoal. Oh, it's so satisfying. And yep, I did swatch my colors ahead of time. I used the coloring book page to kind of get some ideas for colors. And now I'm just laying down the base coat with alcohol markers. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. I think, I'm like 90% sure that I'm using alcohol markers wrong. I feel like people who actually know how to use alcohol markers are going to be watching this and cringing the whole time. Like I've watched tips and tricks. I've watched tutorials, and for some reason, it's just not clicking. So, you know, I'm doing what I can, okay? I'm doing the best I can with what I have, what I know, and I'm gonna try to make it work. Again, fingers crossed. But I really like this color though. I love the muted colors on this guy. I do. Not just this guy, but like all the Shinigami in Death Note. Oh, I love their color schemes. I love how muted they look. I love how creepy they are. I want them all. I want the Shinigami like Pokemon. Like, I want to catch them all, damn it. Give me all the Death Notes. I won't even use them. I just want the Shinigami to hang around. Okay, I'm rambling. Sorry. But yeah, now I'm coloring in all the little jewels, all the little jewelry and stuff. Yeah, just trying to keep a nice muted color scheme going. Make them look nice and creepy. I'm not sure if it's as muted as I like to think it is, but it's definitely not, they're definitely not bright colors. Okay, these are definitely not pastel. They're definitely not neutral. I don't know how else to describe them, okay? They look muted to me. It's muted enough. I will say though, the brush nibs on the alcohol markers were probably the hardest part of alcohol markers to get used to. I'm so used to colored pencils and even just water-based markers, which I freaking hate. I'm so used to them, like, just having like the solid nib and just doing whatever I gotta do. But no, with the alcohol marker, I have to be aware of how much pressure I'm using. And honestly, that's a good thing. Because a lot of I'm very heavy-handed, and when I use colored pencils, that was like, for a long time, that was one of my biggest weaknesses, was that I wanted solid colors, so I was pressing hard with everything that I colored, and it really wasn't doing me any favors. So now that I need to be consciously aware, using alcohol markers with the brush nib is helping me get used to that, which is kind of nice. So yep, nice gray background. We got to keep it neutral because we don't want to keep upsetting him. And I'm trying to make it look like these holes are windows. Okay, because he is a solid structured creature. I mean, realistically, a Shinigami could just dematerialize and go wherever he wants, but I feel like he's just staying here for his own amusement, just to see what people do. And they just assume that he's not going to be able to escape, so they let him have those little windows. Do I sound weird? Have I put too much thought into this? I don't know. I always consider, I always think of these things later on. Like, I'm not thinking about it when I'm drawing. When I'm drawing, I just want to, like, enjoy the process. But then later, looking back, I'm just like, here's the story. I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. Let me know. Let me know. Watching the ink just fill the space. That's so satisfying. And it looks so much smoother on camera. I swear, in person, it's a lot more... What's the word? A lot more patchy. And honestly, that's kind of why I use colored pencil over top to kind of... Boo! Can you not? No. Sorry, my bunny's getting into stuff. Anyway, that's why I use colored pencil over top to kind of get rid of some of that patchiness, but I'm hoping one day I can be good enough at alcohol markers that I don't really need to do that, you know? Like, I'd like to just use the markers as a base color and then only use the colored pencils as for detailing. But as of right now, I'm not very good at alcohol markers, so I need to use them to smooth out that color. But it is a much faster process than just using the colored pencils, which is so nice. Because I admit it, I am an impatient artist, which is not a good thing to be. I mean, granted, art doesn't need to take years and years to be good. It's just that even when it takes just a couple hours for me, that's kind of exhausting. Then this one took a while. It's sped up, which is a lot nicer, but this took quite a bit of time to finish. And yeah, I was definitely feeling it later. I also want to take a second to acknowledge that this is what the original Shinigami looked like. Yeah, this was long before I started adding backgrounds to my drawings, and it was also before I learned to really blend colored pencils. I knew a little bit, but this was a new brand that I was using. I wasn't too familiar with them, so I just did the safe thing and colored lightly, left it streaky and scratchy, and I'm just hoping I do better on this one, honestly. And yeah, this is my own custom Shinigami inspired by Death Note, one of my favorite animes, and I really hope you guys like it too. Yeah, getting all the little detail around the toofies, getting all the shading in these bandages, getting the shading on the horns. I will say though, for all the shading that I did, all the time that I took in the shading and highlights, when I pull back, it's not really noticeable. I think this is something I can do better on next time, but I'm so happy with the end result. So yeah, just a mental note for later, I guess. I'm adding details in each and every one of those freaking beads, and then the rings around the gems, and that took a minute. Yep. I'm using a white gel pen to highlight that. And finally, getting the blood. The blood! Remember how I said in the beginning I kind of wanted to make it look like like he's behind glass and there's blood on his hands and there's blood on the glass? Yeah, now's the time. It's happening. There's blood, blood, blood! Sorry. Getting a little crazy there. You know what, this actually, thinking back, I didn't think about this at the time, but this actually kind of makes me think of those SCPs, the Secure, Contain, and Protect critters that you hear about. Kind of makes me think like one of those scenarios. Like they found a Shinigami, tried to contain it, tried to reason with it or something. I don't freaking know. And yeah, it didn't go so well. Adding highlights to the blood to make it look a little more fresh, a little more visceral, a little more vicious. Yeah. And I added some straight lines over on this side here to kind of make it look like he's actually behind the glass, and adding some highlights around the windows to kind of, again, make them look more like windows. I'm not sure if it worked, but, you know, they're there. I did it. Wait, wait. And here he is, my updated new Shinigami. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I freaking love him. I adore him. I love all the blood. I love how it came out. And yeah, if you like content like this, then you can subscribe or you can be locked in a room with this guy. Either way, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!